Call the roll.
Councilman Delarada.
Here.
Councilwoman McGraw, absent. Councilman McPartlin.
Here.
Councilwoman Weber.
Here.
Supervisor Syed.
Here. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance to be led by Councilman McPartlin. Okay, we're now going to move on to approval of the minutes. We have the minutes from the regular town board meeting of March 26, 2019. Can I have a second for approval?
Second.
Thank you. Are there any changes to these minutes? Okay, with no, go
Just
ahead.
the 55 plus dance in my committee report, that's on August 16th, not the 19th. So I may have misspoke or it might be a typo, but it's on the 16th.
I can make that change.
Thanks.
Okay. Are there any other changes to the minutes? Okay, with no further changes, all those in favor of approving these minutes signified by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And these minutes are approved. We're now going to move on to privilege of the floor. Privilege of the floor is now open. If anyone would like to speak during privilege of the floor, I ask that you approach the lectern, state your name and address for the record.
Amy Howansky, 2833 Whitmire Drive. As of 6:06 this evening, there was no agenda posted for this special board meeting tonight. At the Finance Committee meeting just prior to this meeting, we received an agenda that also listed the people present, but not everyone listed was actually present. This has happened at several other meetings, I've noticed. Listing attendees before the meeting actually occurs is not an accurate way to record attendance. Also, the last meeting of the Economic Development Committee was listed incorrectly on the website as occurring on July 5th instead of when it actually occurred on June 28th. I see that it has now been corrected. 2 weeks ago, on June 27th, a debris transport truck left the wastewater treatment facility and traveled down Whitmire Drive, spilling liquid out the back. I don't know what the liquid was, and it may have been left over after the inside of the truck was washed down. That's possible, I don't know. But the liquid spewed out of the back of the truck all the way down Whitmire, leaving a trail all the way onto River Road. The liquid smelled putrid, and the smell then kind of wafted off the street toward our houses. I called the supervisor's office and the sewer and water department office, but I have not yet received a reply phone call. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Privilege of the floor is still open if anyone else would like to speak.
Hello, my name is Donald Wisenhunt. I live at 2160 Grand Boulevard, and I rise today as a member of Progressive Schenectady with my other members behind me. I would like to get a follow-up and a status report on some issues that were brought up at a previous town board meeting. As you may recall, the Facebook page for a group called Niskayuna Progressive Action Committee, a group that at least currently appears to be deleted as of this weekend, took out Facebook ads implying that our organization, Progressive Schenectady, was involved in sending out anonymous postcards targeting a candidate for school board. It was then claimed that the owner of this Facebook group, who is on the town council, did not sanction this ad and that her account must have been compromised or hacked. I would request that we have a follow-up on this situation. Specifically, has a police report been filed on this hacking? And is there a current and ongoing investigation being carried out by the Niskayuna Police Department? It should not be difficult to get the payment information used to place the ad from Facebook as part of a criminal investigation. In the interest of transparency and good governance, I would request that Councilwoman McGraw, when she is available, give us a status report. Thank you.
Thank you. Privilege of the floor is still open if anyone else would like to speak.
Hello, my name is Tom Hodgkins and I live on Rosendale Road. My kids were, I think this is the third year they've been in the swim team over the summer, and they love it. They get to swim every day. My daughter's on the dive team this year, and they really just have a lot of fun. Great coaches and great events, racing, different teams around the region. It's a lot of fun. They really become really great swimmers through that. I kind of tricked them into, instead of taking swim lessons, I just put them on the swim team, and they learn those strokes, and now they're great swimmers. So been participating in this, and first year I didn't go to the swimathon. Last year we went, and there's a raffle involved at the swimathon, where tickets are distributed. You buy tickets or you donate money and you get tickets. It's basically a 1-for-1 for each dollar you donate for this foundation. I don't know anything about this foundation, but it's supposedly does good things for Albany Medical Center. And then you get a ticket, and the tickets are given to the kids, and the kids put their tickets in the little boxes for the prizes, and they're all the prizes are donated, but they're valuable. They're things that have value. And then the leader of the swim program, Denise McGraw, she draws the tickets with the help of the lifeguards, and the kids all sit in front of her and participate in this gambling event. So that kind of really soured my stomach. I don't gamble. I was opposed to the casino. I spoke up against the casino. I thought the whole process, well, I'm not gonna get into that, but it's really has, the casino is really kind of just, it's a poor tax. It preys on the economically disadvantaged and takes advantage of them. And, you know, there really was, even though most of the people in Niskayuna voted against the constitutional amendment to support more casinos, the entire town board supported the casino in the resolution. Not one person voted against the casino, even though the majority, the vast majority, I think it was like, I did the numbers, vast majority of residents in Niskayuna were opposed to the casino. So it's completely mismatch. The Democratic Party, complete mismatch with the wills of the people. So the Democratic machine is behind gambling. I understand that. I understand the reasons. But in the town, we also support, the town also supports gambling at its town facilities. And this is illegal. I wrote a letter to the editor last year, not last year, it's like January. And I pointed out the fact that in the general municipal law, you know, it was clarified, the general municipal law was clarified that those sections govern charitable gaming. That's how it's referred to in the law, not gambling. But that's what it is. It's gambling. That no person under the age of 18 shall be permitted to play in any game of chance. So these are quite clear provisions in the general municipal law. And I talked also about the prevalence of gambling in New York State. One of the things that New York State doesn't do is investigate gambling. So we really have a completely backwards. Over in Massachusetts, they funded a whole institute to study gambling and the impacts of gambling. And New York just kind of puts its head in the sand about the impacts of gambling. And that's something that, you know, it's really shameful. But in 2006, this is the most recent study that the state has done on gambling. 2006, they found 10% of teens experience problem gambling. 10% of teens. They also found 20% were at risk or already experiencing gambling problems. So this was before, Cuomo was pushing gambling on the state. And, it's really pervasive now. So it's probably worse than that, but we don't know because the state refuses to study it. I wonder why. Also, independent researchers, people not connected with political parties and developers and billionaires that profit from the extraction of wealth from our poorest citizens, have concluded that people living within 10 miles of a casino, the rate of problem gambling doubles. Okay, so based on these kind of old statistics from the state and these independent researchers, and I put some speculation together about what that actually means for Niskayuna students. So it's possible that 40% or 553 students in Niskayuna High School and 1,900 high school students in Schenectady County, according to enrollment data from 2015, are at risk or are already experiencing gambling problems. So this is kind of the lay of the land of where we're at in Niskayuna, right? New York State. Proliferation of gambling. Everybody loves it. But we have a problem as well. There are kids who are experiencing problem gambling. Okay? This is real. And what goes along with that, there's also alcohol abuse, drug abuse, and that goes on into other things, depression, there's a higher rate of suicide. There's a lot of things that are connected with problem gambling. There's a gentleman that lived in Niskayuna. He was down at the casino. He's a senior citizen, and at 4:00 in the morning, they stole all his money, and he said something, and they filed terrorist charges against him. Well, you're making a terrorist threat because he lost all his money. They took advantage of a senior citizen. That's our community. That happened to one of our residents. So that's just kind of the vile impact gambling has on our society. And researchers have done a lot of reading about gambling and bingo and games of chance. And what they do at the Wild Turkeys event for many years is a game of chance. It's a completely random event where you get tickets. You basically purchase tickets. It's a 1-for-1 return. You basically purchase tickets and you get the ticket, and then the kids participate in the random drawing for prizes of monetary value. So this cannot continue. So in addition to the general municipal law, there's also, I went through the town code, and a lot of those things are, there's a lot of references to gambling. So chapter 59 and game rooms, operation of game rooms, it's relates to other things, but it mentions that there should be no gambling in game rooms. Games of chance, chapter 127 of the town code, defines games of chance a little funny here, but it says participation by persons under 18, section 127-10. No person under the age of 18 shall be permitted to play in a game of chance. Quite clear. Okay. Yet at the town property, we are on Friday, June 12th. You can go gamble with your children at the town pool. I am opposed to this gambling event. The studies show that the more kids are exposed to gambling and games of chance, they have higher rates of problem gambling in the future. So more exposure combined with, we have a casino, we have pervasive gambling in the state. It's a real problem. And so are you going to protect the kids of Niskayuna by putting an end to games of chance, kid games of chance? It's up to you what you guys do. Before, you haven't done anything, but so I've had no luck with the Democrats on the town board. But I did made some progress with the town board because there was also a bingo game at the Rosendale Elementary School. So I raised it with the town board, And they conceded that this was an illegal operation, and they have ceased that, and they are going to comply with the New York State law governing youth, the prohibitions on child gambling. So the town board, the superintendent, to his credit, so I heard from the superintendent, he is going to uphold state law now. So it's what is the town board going to do? So it's Friday, July 12th, but you've all known about this for a while. So it's still continuing. So I guess it's another warning before another illegal event happens. Thank you.
Thank you. Privilege of the floor is still open if anyone else would like to speak. And last call on privilege of the floor. If you would like to speak, do so now. Okay, seeing no one left who is willing to speak, I'm going to close privilege of the floor. We're going to move on to our resolutions. We're going to begin with Resolution 2019-201, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to amend Resolution 2019-183.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes,
4 ayes.
and this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-202, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to amend Resolution 2019-184.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes,
4 ayes.
and this resolution passes. Last resolution, 2019-203, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to amend Resolution 2019-185.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes,
4 ayes.
and this resolution passes. I'm now going to make a motion to adjourn. If I could have a second for that motion?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, we have now adjourned this special meeting. I'm now going to call to order the July 9, 2019 agenda meeting. We're going to begin with a presentation by Amal Kapoor. He's going to be presenting on a business case for the town of Niskuna to enter into an agreement for a countywide solar consortium.
An informal presentation, no PowerPoint slides or paper. I'm just going to talk to you guys. For those of you who I haven't met, my name is Amal Kapoor for GE within our solar business. I wanted to do a couple of things today, really 3 key things. I wanted to give you guys an update on where we stand with the solar projects, just so that you guys know where we are in terms of our development and timelines. Second thing, I want to give you guys an update on your business case. So what does the business case look like for Niskuna specifically? And then that'll segue to the third bucket, which is really next steps. And the supervisor had mentioned that that's us now starting to execute contracts with each of the municipalities. So that's sort of the buckets that'll walk you guys through. Overall project update. So we've been developing these projects for a little over a year now, probably a year and a quarter. And where we are now is we have cited 8 projects across the county, all on land that's owned by municipalities. We're going to build about 25 megawatts of solar, and that'll equate to around 30 million kilowatt hours. And just to give you some perspective, the consortium, or the county and the towns, they use about 38 million kilowatt hours. So that's a lot of kilowatt hours relative to what you all consume. We think that about 5 of the projects will be built this year, although 5 or 6, it all depends on the weather and permitting and stuff like that. But our goal is to get 5 or 6 of these systems built and operational in 2019. So that means that we can build them and then we can start producing power and saving you guys money. The last 2 sites will trickle into 2020 just because they're larger systems. And then when you get into 4Q, you start to deal with the weather in the Northeast and timelines start to sort of trickle off. So that's what the timelines look like. In terms of the business case, so I'll give you a run through of what the program looks like, because it's not as clean and simple as you would hope. But this is how it works. So we'll build and own and operate these solar systems across the county. Every electron that we produce goes to the grid. So it just becomes another electron into the electrical infrastructure. What we get for those kilowatt hours that we produce is what's referred to as credits. You can call it anything you want, solar credit, a value credit, a green credit, but it's basically a credit. It's a monetary credit. And so the easiest way that I describe it is it's basically a Groupon, because you're buying a discount that's going to be applied to your national grid bills. And as long as you're not paying more than that discount, you would do that deal just about any day of the week, because it's kind of what we call free money in business. Although nothing's actually free, but it's pretty close to it. So that's how the program works. It's a 25-year program. It's sponsored by the New York PSC and NYSERDA, who have created this program. It's under the umbrella of community solar. And so community solar is exactly that. It's solar for the community. And so the concept for community solar is you build these solar arrays and you power multiple people. So instead of just building a system for a company or a town, you're building it for many users. And the reason you do that is because folks in this room might have homes that they can't put solar on. They might not have a big backyard where they want to put a solar array, and sometimes you just want it out of sight, out of mind. And so that's the fundamental reason why we do community solar. And so when we build these 8 systems that produce 30 million kilowatt hours, the way we're going to structure this with the county is 2/3 of the power is going to be allocated to the consortium. So to the county, the cities, the towns, and the villages. The other third will be allocated to what we refer to as traditional community solar subscribers. So that's just local taxpayers, homeowners, small businesses, local residents within Schenectady County. And so the mix of community solar participants will be 2/3 county or municipal and 1/3 local residents. So your business case, this is how it looks. So each credit that I sell you is going to be worth around 12.2 cents a kilowatt hour. You'll pay us 8.29 cents for these kilowatt hours or per kilowatt hour. And so that's basically the put and the take, right? You get 12 cents, you pay us 8.2. That delta is your savings. It's 3.9 cents. It's pretty rich. It's about 32%, and that's significantly higher than what you would typically see in a traditional market deal. So you'll save 32 cents on a credit, and a credit is just sort of represented by a kilowatt hour. So then the next key component of the math equation is how many credits can I sell you? Now I'm going to sell you or allocate around 644,000 kilowatt hours. You guys use a lot more than that. You use about 2 million kilowatt hours a year. And I'll explain why I'm not selling you 2 million at the end. But I'm going to sell you around or allocate around 644 credits to you, or 644,000 kilowatt hours of credits. So if you do that math, 4 cents times 644, you get $25,000. So that's what your savings becomes in year one. It's a 25-year program, so you extrapolate that, and your savings over 25 years is, if I can remember the number, it's about 647,000 over the 25-year period. So that's what your overall business case looks like. Year one, 25,000. Over 25 years, 647,000. And going back to the number of credits I'm selling you. So a couple of things have happened. We originally were going to build 18 sites and 48 megawatts, and everyone was going to save $1 million. But things happen, engineering things. Some of the sites weren't buildable. We had to work with National Grid and the utility, and some sites just weren't approved electrically to build. And so we had to bring down our overall portfolio size. As a function of that, we just can't allocate as many credits to folks. There is opportunity in the future for other projects that we're developing to where we could use some of your excess credits or excess kilowatt hours, if that makes sense. So that's how the business case looks. That's the status. Am I allowed to take questions or no? I am? Okay. I'll stop there before I go to the next steps, because I said a whole bunch and might have. Any questions on that stuff? How it works, where we are?
I got a question for you. So you said 25,000 a year. That's to the municipality?
That's just for Niskayuna. So that's just for the utility bills that Niskayuna is responsible for.
The town.
Yeah, the town.
Right.
So the National Grid bills that you guys have.
All right. And then talk to me, how does the 1/3 to the residents, where does that come in?
Yeah, so I haven't included that in this business case. That's a separate effort where I've now got to go out to various sort of public folks and say, hey, who wants this? It's kind of a first come, first serve thing. We haven't actively started marketing these. because we have to make sure that we feed the folks who are supporting the program, which is the consortium. Once we have those agreements executed, then we'll start going to the public and small businesses and saying, hey, who's interested in signing up for this program? I will say that theirs is a little bit of a different program, right? The contracts that we're going to sign with you guys are long-term contracts, and they're a different pricing structure where you pay us 8.29 cents and you'll receive 12 cents. When we have an agreement with, let's just say, a local homeowner in Niskayuna, I can't sign a long-term contract with them, right? You just would never be able to convince someone to sign a 20-year contract, and nor would I really want to from an underwriting standpoint. So what we do with those folks is we sign what's referred to as an annual subscription contract. And so there's not really a time or a tenor to it. It's just, hey, you sign up and we'll guarantee you a specific discount. And that could be 10% or 15%, but it won't be as rich as the 30% that you guys are getting. And that's just a function of the economics of the system. That was a long-winded answer. I don't know if that.
That's okay.
Okay.
So have you built in some, I mean, are these conservative numbers for your production from your panels?
No, I think they're actually, I think if anything, we're always very conservative, unfortunately. So I think that, I think that we're easily going to hit the 30 million kilowatt hours.
And what about the longevity and the lifespan of your panels?
Yeah, so I mean, we'll own the system. Obviously, we'll maintain them. The modules themselves are warranted for 25 years. They do degrade. So each year there is about a 0.5 point degradation to the power. And we take that into account for our forecast and for our business case. The unique thing for your business case and also for the consortium is I don't have to sell you less each year just because my modules produce less, right? Because I've got all this excess capacity that I can redirect to you guys. But overall, yeah, the modules do degrade a little bit over time, about 0.5 point each year. Yeah, I should have mentioned this. Obviously, no cost to the town, the consortiums for us doing this. We build it, we put up our own capital. The whole spirit is if we build it, then we own it and maintain it. And that's how we sort of make our money slowly over the duration of the contract.
Well, we're locked in with you for 25 years.
Yeah.
And if somebody else decide, comes in and says, oh, we've got even less expensive solar, or we're not able to take advantage of that because we're locked in with you guys for 25 years.
That's true. I would be hardly surprised if someone gave you a better offer, but it's possible.
25 years is a long time.
It is. It is.
How would this work with community choice aggregation?
Yeah, it's a good question. I was speaking with, I think, Laura about that. There really shouldn't be an impact. The only thing that I see, and I've been working with some folks in downstate New York who are actually trying to build programs for municipalities in New York so that they can do both. So really, the CCA is just a discount, right? How do you get people cheaper energy, which is great because then your bill falls. I'm not selling you power, and I'm not selling you kilowatt hours. I'm selling you a monetary credit. So I don't really care about how much you pay for your energy. I do, but indirectly. But the one thing it probably does slightly is it lowers your bill charges. So in theory, that means you have less bill charges to allocate these credits to. And so the example that Laura and I walked through is, look, if you've got a bill that's $100 a month and you get onto this great CCA, awesome. Maybe it saves you 10% or 20%. No one's been able to articulate what that savings is, but let's just say it saves you 10%. Now your bill is $90 a month. So I don't want to sell you $100 worth of credits. I want to sell you somewhere less than 90. So that's where it would impact community solar. But I think the benefit of CCA and solar, which is what I think New York State is trying to work on, is how do you do both so that you can save 10% there and then 10% here? So now your bill goes from 100 to 90 to 80, which is kind of like double dipping, but it's two different forms of discounts.
And to be clear, you're not going to sell us back the credits of the totality of what the municipality uses. It's a portion of
It's
what
a
we
por-
use. So
yeah.
we always have that variable too. The portion we're not buying
Yep.
in a credit, we can always go out to the market with those variable rates.
Yes. Yeah. I'm not going to touch your variable rate. You can. Now, there is one thing, though. You guys are probably okay because I'm only going to be offsetting about 30% of your usage. You guys, I believe, are on a third-party supply contract, I think, with Constellation on one of your accounts. So here's where it becomes a little tricky. The charges have to be on your national grid bill. So you can't use a credit on a non-national grid bill. And so you run into a bit of an issue in that respect. So the county and the city, I don't think Glenville, I thought there was one other town. Yeah, no, you guys are the third town actually. So the city and the county have the same issue. They've got third-party supply contracts with, I think, Omega or Mega. So what they're going to do is, I guess, so what they're exploring is putting that third-party supply onto their national grid bill, which you're allowed to do, but it requires a phone call and a conversation and a back and forth, and it might actually, you might be levied some charges for doing that. So, conversation one, I believe Paul's the gentleman that I was talking to in finance. That's something that we want to explore, right? Hey, do you want to do that? If you don't, let's exclude those bills. But if you do, what does that mean? Do they force you to be on a 1-year fixed contract? Do they charge you a $5 management fee a month? Right? That could have an economic impact. The analysis that we did for the county was that it was minute. You increase your bill charges slightly, but it just means you have, more bills that you can credit.
Right.
If that makes sense. No more questions? Okay. So pivot to the third bucket. So next steps, we're ready to start construction. And so obviously in order to do construction, we need to execute contracts. We've executed them with we've executed them with the city, the county, Rotterdam, Delancey. Glenville has approved and should be free to sign on the 12th or the 15th based on their sort of policy of 30-day public notice. And so now I'm making my way to the non-landowners, Niskayuna, Scotia, Duanesburg, and then Princetown I'm working on. They've got some complications with some of their bills. So ready to execute those contracts so that we can start building. And, we're starting to mobilize on some of the sites in the next couple of weeks. And so that's going to be my next task, but I don't think I'm asking that day, or am I coming back in 2 weeks or something like that, or
For the 23rd.
20, okay. So that's my next step, is that you guys will approve the ability to execute the long-term credit agreements, which I believe you have copies of.
All the municipalities are going on to 25 years. Is that your minimum contract time frame?
Yeah, it's the exact same contract. So every member, same language in the contract, and they're all 25-year terms. It's a 25-year program as well. So it's not, we didn't arbitrary. The longer the program for us, the better, because we get to basically have more longer contract revenue, which helps us to also give a lower upfront price. But the program itself is 25 years. So that credit that you get is grandfathered in from NYSERDA for that 25-year period.
Is the credit for all the municipalities the same? How is that based?
I wish it was yes. It is and it kind of isn't. So if it was just a solar system, yes, same credit. 2 of the sites have storage on them, the Rotterdam landfill and the Glenville landfill. Well, they will have storage. And so we're adding some significant sized battery packs to those systems. Because we're doing that, NYSERDA has this pretty complicated formulaic calculation to determine what the credit is. Well, if you have storage, now you've added another adder, and so it's worth more. So the credit is worth, on a solar plus storage site that we're building, every site's different, it's around 12.2 cents, which is what I quoted you guys as getting. So I'm putting you guys on that site specifically because I'm only offsetting 30% of your credits. If I wasn't, the credit on the solar sites is fine. It's around 11.5 cents or 11.3 cents. So it's a cent less, but 11 cents against 8.2 is still pretty good. But you guys are on those, the landfill sites. So you guys can thank Rotterdam and Glenville. I'm done. Sorry. Do I
Great.
leave? Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. We're going to move on with the rest of our agenda meeting. I'm going to call Matt Yetto to begin with number 2.
Number 2 is a resolution to appoint a transfer station attendant. I had it on last month and I'm going to keep it on this month. If we get someone to come in, looks good, we'll hire them. We have 2 guys right now. I'd just like to have a third. Number 3, I'm going to pull that for this month. We're not quite ready for that. 4, point a resolution to appoint a plant mechanic or a trainee at the sewer plant. We have one candidate that is working there right now from our water and sewer crew. He seems to be working out well. We're trying to find out if he wants to make the change and stay down there full time. I have a few more weeks to try to figure that out. If he does want to stay down there, I'd like to continue on and appoint him as a plant trainee. 5 is a resolution to purchase a 1-ton dump truck off of a mini bid. We'll have the numbers by the board meeting. 6 is just the standard resolution approving reconciliation for corporate utility billing for the first quarter of 2019 and also for the residential and commercial utility billing for the second half of 2018. 7 is a resolution to award a contract for a fence at Blatnick Park. This would be around the splash pad. Still working on numbers with contractors. I should have a better idea in the next week or so. 8.
I'm sorry, would that be the final thing that needs to be done for the splash pad to go live, the fence?
It can go live without the fence. I just wanted to have the pad in and most of the grading done prior to doing a final alignment for the fence, just so we knew what would best fit.
Right, okay, could we get just a time estimate?
I was talking to the contractor today. He's looking at pouring concrete, setting forms Thursday and pouring concrete most likely next week.
Okay, great, because people have been asking, so people are
I'm eager
excited.
myself. I'd like to get that going.
Great, thank you so much.
All the rain we had,
Yeah.
back concrete pouring.
Yeah, I
all in
figured.
the area, so.
Yeah, thank you.
8 is a resolution to purchase masonry supplies for the transfer station bathroom. We originally got authority through the finance committee for the materials, and they ran over on some of their materials, mainly mortar and dye, and we had to buy it from the same supplier so that everything would match. We're talking like $700, but it's just over the threshold, so we had to do a resolution for it. 9 is a resolution to approve an agreement with the city of Albany to allow us to continue to haul our sludge from the wastewater treatment plant to their facility. We've been doing it on a case-to-case basis right now, but we'd like to enter into a long-term agreement with them, lock in a rate and have a more stable source. That's all I have. 10, the aqueduct bathrooms, Laura was handling that, but I can give an update on that.
Sure.
It's out the bid starting tomorrow, the bid opening on the 22nd of July.
Okay.
Any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Okay. Do we have Jeff Twitty in for Laura?
So just a couple resolutions. Matt already mentioned 10, the contract for the aqueduct bathrooms, so that'll be going out on the 22nd. 11, or going out tomorrow, and we'll get the bids by the 22nd. 11 is a resolution on our surveyor to survey River Road Park. We've been in contact with our engineering firm on this, Barton and LaJudas, and they've given us a list of surveyors who could survey River Road Park for us in advance of the proposed improvements. And we've also received renderings from Barton and LaJudas kind of showing how the fields would be set up as well. So that should be ready by the next town board meeting. Excuse me. 12 would be a resolution, or is a resolution to accept district extensions for Harmon Grove, water, sewer, and drainage. And I believe that was the topic of the special meeting, kind of moving the public hearing for those from tonight to the 23rd. So our department has received the meets and bounds description for both the water, sewage, and drainage district extensions. So that resolution should also be ready. All right. Any questions?
Great. Thank you very much. Okay, we have Chief.
Good evening. Number 13 is a resolution for the sale of a surplus vehicle. This is a vehicle we took possession of through our impound process. So we'll be putting it out on auction just for revenue coming back in.
Great. Thank you. Next up, we have Paul Sebesta.
Okay, number 14 is a resolution to approve budget modifications. I circulated a very short list, which included a $2,500 recognition of a CDTC grant for the recent bike rodeo. So that Van Antwerp band $2,225 in donations from various local companies for the Fall Fun Run. 15 is a resolution to enter into an agreement with the county for a countywide solar consortium that we just heard from Amal regarding. I can add that I have contacted Constellation and spoke to them a couple times about the necessity to move our billing onto the national grid bill, as he described, to be able to apply the credits as necessary. Unfortunately, it does carve a little out of our savings because they do have an administrative fee that he kind of alluded to. Also, there's a bad debt charge that they throw on for all customers. So we have to kick into that also. It's not a huge amount, but it's not free.
Like a billing fee if anybody else has
Right,
their power from somebody.
right.
And goes on their national grid bill.
And it's a higher fee than, so we're paying Constellation and National Grid now, basically. But there's still significant, it's a fraction of the savings. I don't want to make it out to be more than it is, but it's not free. And I can get you the exact numbers, but it's a fraction of a penny.
Okay.
Okay, 16 and 17 are resolutions to certify both the current base proportions and the adjusted base proportions that are calculated by the town assessor. These are necessary for our dual homestead, non-homestead rule that have to go to New York State real property for the development of the budget and our calculation of our tax rate and how the property taxes are allocated between the two. This impacts how the taxes are allocated between the two groups. 18 is a resolution to appoint the soon-to-be retired town assessor as a per diem employee to continue with the implementation and of the new ACES program, which is the new real property software system that New York State is developing with Tyler Technology. She's going to continue to do that and work with grievances and this year, later in the year, also with the new assessor. Excuse me. And 19 is a ceremonial resolution recognizing a Niskuna High School school mountain bike varsity champion, who I don't know the name of.
Paul, one
Congratulations.
question. You're advertising for a position in your office. How is that going so far?
I haven't spent any money and it's going well. I put it on a free Government Finance Officers Association website, and it was blasted out through the town website. So I haven't actually contacted the two individuals that are very, I think they're highly qualified, actually. That
So you got some interest.
that have applied. Two people have applied. It's going in the Times Union Gazette. 2 weeks in the 2 weekends in the Gazette and 1 weekend in the Times Union, starting this weekend.
Okay.
I think the Times Union Thursday and Sunday are their job advertisement days, and the Gazette is suggesting Saturday and Sunday. And it's just a small ad referring to the website where the full job description and salary and everything is posted to save money.
Great.
Trying to keep the costs down, but I do want to get the word out. So it's
Yes.
trade-off. Is it?
Great.
Any questions?
Thank you. Okay. Now going to motion to adjourn our agenda meeting. If I could have a second.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? We are now adjourned. Everybody have a wonderful evening.